Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from the School Book. It's Monday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific for those who need a time break. Anyways, welcome to my show. Like normal, I don't have anything planned, but I do have a guest, so that's good. Remember to ask questions, but I will get all this other stuff out of the way first while I'm sitting right here. Remember, this is my parent company. These are the ones that allow me to actually do this show. Facebook.com/BB3TV. My show shows up here. This is also a variety show, so pop into there and you can see all the different type of variety shows we have. We're not just paranormal. So pop in down there, take a look, check them out. Mine directly is very, very long. Facebook.com, Stuff I Never Learned from the School Book, all is one word. Good luck with that. Copy and paste is the easiest way to do that. And I do want to give a special shout out, and I will do this throughout the night, so just be ready for it. Special shout out to Paranormal Brew, Facebook.com, Paranormal Brew, because they allow me to advertise. Go out and check them out too. Taryn Kerper's the owner of that, and she is absolutely fantabulous. So make sure you go out and check that out. I'm going to go ahead and bring my guest on. She is a very good friend of mine, even though we have just met, but I feel like I've known her forever. But I'm going to go ahead and bring on Erin Bush. So there she is. Hi, Erin.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
So here we go. Hi, Ajeng. So I don't know if you've heard or not, but I always say hello to Ajeng.
She's in Indonesia, correct?
Yes. And Ajeng is the newest member of BB3 TV. She actually
All right.
on BB3 TV.
That's great. She plays piano, right?
She plays piano. She is fantastic on the piano.
That's awesome.
Her son plays violin. So they can do a duet if they want to, whatever they want. We're kind of giving them carte blanche to do whatever they want, and it's going to be fantastic.
That's awesome. So, congrats, Ajeng. That's amazing.
Yep, and here's my wife saying hello to Ajeng. So, yep, see, that's right there. You can go out there and you can see Ajeng already has a bunch of stuff posted on the BB3, so you can go out and check her out.
Yep.
And listen to her. She is just a wonderful person overall. She's saying hi to me. Of course, I'm whatever. And then there's
hey, girl.
So she can't wait to listen to you tonight.
Careful what you wish for. No, I'm just kidding.
And of course, the Ajeng is saying hello to you. So I want people to know kind of how you and I got introduced to each other. It was kind of by a third-party way. So,
yeah.
So just so everyone knows, last week I had on Michelle Roos.
Mm-hmm.
And if you all remember who she is, Erin is kind of her. Michelle called her organizer, her right hand, to make sure she kept everything straight. So when I was trying to get everything scheduled through Michelle, we had to go through Erin to get Michelle's schedule, because even though it's Michelle, she doesn't know her own schedule, and Erin does.
True.
But then Erin and I started talking. And we realized we had a lot in common. We both.
That we do.
She also does paranormal stuff as well. And so I was just so drawn by her and taken in. I was like, oh, I got to go ahead and have her on my show. So it was just an energy I knew I wanted on the show. So here she is. So everyone, make sure you say hi to Erin along the way. I know people are still popping in. This is odd for people, because if you look at a lot of our shows that happen on BB3, they don't exactly start on time, and I do. So some people think they have a 10-minute leeway before they have to. Taryn Kerper, just calling her out by name, but kind of happens sometimes.
It does. It happens,
I'm sure she'll probably pop in at some time.
Oh yeah,
because she'll probably be 5 to 10 minutes late to this. Oh, there we go. This is one of yours, Kathleen.
That's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Oh, hi, Mom. So, yep, you'll see one of my moms pop in pretty soon too. Patricia.
I love how our parents pop in. It's fun.
So, right, it's not really my mom, but it's the BB3 TV owner's mom, and we all call her Mom.
Surrogate mom.
Yes.
Everybody needs one of those too.
What's up, Tom, brother? How you doing? This is who I call OG Tom, because I'm a Tom, but he's the OG Tom. He was here first. He is actually another owner of BB3 TV. Him and Dom were the first two to start BB3 TV. So
Tom, and Tom.
Yes. Well, actually, it's Dom, Tom, and Taryn are the three owners. I just got thrown into there because I have a pretty beard. So so that's how that works out. But Tom, I don't have your hold on a second. Let me kill this banner really quick because I still got it strolling across. Tom, I do not have your link to This Is Tom's World, but he has a show that's out there on YouTube, and I believe he's been doing it also on BB3 TV, and it's called This Is Tom's World, and it is a very educational and very cool show.
Nice.
It goes out into the surrounding areas by him, that's the forest and everything else, the one of the parks, and he talks about, actually, thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. There you go. He goes out there and he talks about the preservation of it and the history of it and everything else and stuff like that. He actually works out there.
Nice.
He goes ahead and he talks about the history of it, everything that he's doing for it, how they're reclaiming it, and everything else. So it's a really cool, really, really worthwhile program to go out and watch. So I would tell everyone, if you get a chance, go to this guy, watch this, hit like, hit share. Make sure you're doing everything for Tom Nally, because it is absolutely worthy cause, and he's an absolutely worthy person. So make sure we're doing that. So, yep, no problem, Tom. You got it. Anything for you guys. So, anyways, this is going to happen. Oh, see, here we go. So here's Patricia McDowell. She was a past guest of mine. Yep,
She moved time zones.
Yep, and that's why, if you notice my commercial, I actually have that in there, that I had all the time zones, because stuff like this happens, and I have to help people out. Yes, and some people just don't know the time zones. I realize that.
That's true.
They're like, I'm in Eastern, and you keep saying Central. Am I behind or in front of you? So I just type it all out for him now. But
say it all in one spiel.
Patricia was on my show earlier as well. She has had a very cool story to tell, and I'm actually probably going to have her on as a guest again. So, and this is there are certain guests that I have on. I try to cycle probably like every 6-8 months as more experiences happen for them. They have new stories to tell.
Sure.
And she's one of those I'm going to ask to come on again. So,
Love it.
Okay. So, like I said, we're going to get bombarded throughout the beginning, especially for all the highs, and I'll just keep those going. But Erin, welcome to my show. Thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you.
And a lot of people have already read. I can tell by how many people have already read, but a lot of people have already read my description and intro to you. And I would like you to kind of expand on that, kind of tell your background, when you figured out that you had any kind of abilities at all, or when your first inkling was, when you were younger, or anything else, and then just kind of go from there. Like I said, it's just you and I talking now, so it's all you.
All right. I am originally from Atlanta, Georgia, oldest of 4 kids. My parents are still there. Did 12 years of Catholic school, so I'm a recovering Catholic. I'm also a recovering alcoholic, which I think actually sort of numbed down any abilities I may have had. You know, as a child, I can't really recall a ton of things happening. I had a couple instances where I think there may have been something there from a younger age, but this didn't smack me in the face until 2019. I got sober first. That had to be done because you can't function in that kind of a foggy head. So we did that years ago. And then I had kind of come to realize I was an empath. I just feel things intensely, very differently. Like I can read, the energy when I walk into a room before anyone's opened their mouths, before I even know what we're doing, what's going on. I already know what the vibe looks like. And I've been doing that for a long time. And then my sister had referred me to go see this particular woman to get some counseling done. And I had just put it off. And finally decided to go see her for like talk therapy, Mm-hmm. But she also had this unbelievable spiritual side that I didn't even know I needed. So it started out as talk therapy, quickly morphed into getting my third eye blown open. Basically, it's kind of how it felt. I mean, I don't, it's, I'll give you the short version of this part, but I had been misdiagnosed as bipolar or with having bipolar tendencies. So I'd been on medication for a long time that I didn't need. It just turns out I'm just really sensitive to energy. So once I took that out of the picture, seeing things, hearing things, it's like spirit was like, oh yeah, exactly. Boom. So it was a lot at once.
Down.
It was insane. And it was intense, and it was loud, and it was bright, and it was chaos, and it was absolutely the craziest, mind-blowing part of the journey, I think, so far. So that started in July of 2019. And so I fell in love with energy relatively quickly. It was recommended I take a Reiki 1 course just to kind of hone my intuition a bit because it was all over the place.
Right.
Started studying about clair abilities, things like that. And then just really fell in love with Reiki and have been running kind of with it ever since. But I was also always a people pleaser type, always kind of a helper type. And I had been a paralegal for about 9 years, and I just was becoming more and more and more unhappy. I mean, you've seen some pretty intense things. You know, paralegals see a lot of that as well. You know, less intense than what you've been through specifically. However, there's a lot of things you can't unsee, can't unread, can't unhear.
True.
And hard to deal with as a sensitive, you know, because you're having to take all that in. And no one calls lawyers because they're happy ever.
Right.
You know, so I just kind of started putting out in the universe that I wanted to just get the hell out. And my boss gave me an exit, and I walked right through that bad boy. So I quit last summer.
Oh,
took some time off. Yeah, last summer, July, I think 17th was my last day.
Wow.
And no plans for the first time in my life. Just decided to see where the universe took me. And then about 2 months later, landed me in the lap of the Perron family. And so that's kind of where we took off from there.
Right.
So long way around about. I've been fascinated by the paranormal for a really long time. I mean, I've been watching Ghost Hunters since it came on, you know, Paranormal State, the original old school shows, and they came out.
Right.
But never thought I'd actually have an opportunity to be involved in the field at all. So I'm still at the point where I'm just like taking it in and just enjoying the hell out of it. And I mean, I'm sitting here on your show, for God's sake. Who gets to do stuff like that? If you'd have told me a year ago that this is what I was going to be doing, I'd have told you you were absolutely out of your mind.
If you would have told me in December that I was going to be a host of a show, I would have told you you're out of your mind.
Yeah, because you had a similar, your abilities kind of have come over the last, you kind of had similar, like, boom kind of thing, I think, right?
A year ago, January or February. Yeah, is when I got slammed into. So, yep. Just walked into me too. So, yeah. As I said, you and I have a lot of similarities as far as how we kind of came about this.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it's really weird, and that may be one of the sorry, I'm going to mention this. So yes, everyone up there on the top, you do see the parental advisory. That's because someone sometimes has a potty mouth, and it's not me. I'm just saying, but but anyways, we'll go back to that one. But yeah, that's what I said. I kind of had I don't know if that's what it was that had that sense that. To me, when I first met you about the energy draw, if it was just because we're both so new at this, or if it was something else that just kind of tied us together, and to me to go, all right, I got to ask you to come on my show. I know ultimately we were pushing to have Michelle come on, and she was absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to have her on again. But just so you're aware, because I'll have to contact you again. But I'm going to try to get Michelle back on after the Ireland trip.
Okay, got it.
You're aware.
Perfect.
But I just had this overwhelming desire to say, all right, Erin, you need to come on my show too. And so it just was what it was. And it's just worked out the way it did, just roundabout to where here we are.
Well, and I think, it's interesting too, timing wise, because there's so much chaos, and we've been living in chaos for years with COVID, and we've got, war, we've got all this stuff. So people have been in a heightened state of stress, panic, grief, uncertainty, anxiety. So, and energy is so much a part of, it's everything. That's all of that. And so people are starting to come out of the woodwork. Like, I don't know what I need, but I need something. Like, what I'm doing now is no longer working. I'm desperately unhappy or whatever. And so people are starting to, I think, have some level of soul awakening enough to say, I need something different. Like, I don't know what it is that you do necessarily, but I'm supposed to come and talk to you for whatever. And you're an energy guy. So it's like, these are important conversations. The more people can understand the importance that energy plays in their lives every day, the better off they are. Yeah.
Once they learn that this is who they are, not the 9-to-5 job, then, it's a totally enlightening type of experience. But the problem is, a lot of people want that experience to happen immediately. And they want fulfilled now.
And they want it painlessly too.
Yes.
Which this journey is not.
That is not going to happen.
At all.
Good luck with that. But yeah, so, and I think that's what kind of steers a lot of people away from basically their full potential or any type of potential, is because they just kind of shut themselves down. Cause like, it's like they want the next best weight loss program for spirituality. You know?
Yeah, but it's true.
Can we do this in a pill?
Well, you know, and you have a lot of people, and we all see it. It's love, light, rainbow, and unicorns, and peace, love, and all that. Like, that's true, but there's a dichotomy and a duality to everything, and you can't have this without that, and you can't vibrationally ascend if you don't do the shadow work, or for lack of a better phrase, and they're really digging deep into the nasty parts of your own stuff, and that's where the magic happens. But that's the hardest part of this. That's the hard journey.
Part of that, and I will freely admit that there's a lot of stuff that I have not done yet that I know I still need to do, and it's kind of a twofold for me. One is I haven't done it because I don't know what to do. But the second part of that is because I also have been too lazy to research it. So it's kind of on me,
Well, but I think you get to a point too where you just accept that we're always going to be processing something. Like, I think part of it is the acceptance that we never get to a point where we're not learning something, growing, processing something. I mean, I think it's just kind of a perpetual cycle. And the further down it you go, the more okay with it you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm not quite to that stage yet. And that's really because like the person I go to for Reiki, she asked me, she's like, well, what's next? What do you want next? And I go, look, I got hit with this, like drinking from a fire hose.
It's a good way to put it.
I didn't know how much I can take, but I took all of this and I'm still standing. Now I want more.
Yeah.
So
well, I think that's when you're on the right path. It's like this. I mean, I've always loved to read, but I hated school. I love to work. I work really hard, but like I can't read enough books on, whether it's metaphysical stuff or like neuroplasticity of the brain, healing book. Like, it's just an insatiable desire to learn more.
Right.
And that's when you're at least on the right path, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because I have asked others for help. I've always turned to other people and say, all right, look, here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm going. Here's what I'm looking at. What's next? And they're like, that's not for me to tell you. And I'm like, damn it, tell me. So I am not the expert here. You've been doing this for 20 some odd years. And they're like,
but I think it's like saying if someone's an expert in the paranormal field, if somebody says they're an expert, then you need to run because there's no such thing. I don't think there's an expert in this world either. I mean, we're all learning all the time. I mean,
and me, I have that. So I am open to just pretty much anything, but I am also very much a nerd, and I want the book that tells me the step by step. And I know it's not out there, but my mind goes, you want this? And I go, I know I want this. And then my spiritual mind slaps me and goes, get the hell over it, move on and start doing something else. I'm like, okay, so yeah. So
I think we're rational beings, right? I mean, you're military, right? So I'm not, but but I come from I've always been someone's assistant, whether it's paralegal or executive assistant. I worked in finance, so there's very defined logic in all of those things and very defined parameters to work in. And so I think one of the biggest humps for people like you and me is realizing there's no box.
Right.
And you're like,
yeah.
What do you mean there's no box? There has to be a box. Give me a box. Like, you're desperate for the box. Right. Yeah. And then
I should be able to reach out and touch walls.
There should be parameters. Right. And this is the first time where I've been okay with whatever comes next and not needing a box. But it took me a good 2 years to be okay with there not being a box. And sometimes I still wish there were boxes for certain parts of this. Yeah. But overall, I'm good that there's no box. But it took a while to get there. And
I think that's what I'm still getting. I'm still wanting that box, or I know there has to be. I know that when I fire a certain rifle, that bullet is going to stop at a certain mark.
Yeah,
it doesn't travel all the way around the world.
Yeah.
So I know, but I want that. I want that endpoint, but I don't.
You want the data. You want the empirical data, the research, the numbers, the studies, the
Right.
The one thing we can't have.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
I mean,
I'm greedy.
well, but I think we're people who naturally, we grow up in a society where all the trust is in our five senses that we have that are physical senses, whether,
Right.
taste,
Right.
touch, whatever.
Right.
But people like us, that's not our lead sense. It's something else. So trying to learn to undo all the years of learning that, no, that's not real, or no, that didn't just happen, because we can't apply five senses to it, when actually we should be leading with the other one, and the other one should be secondary, really.
Right. They should be the ones to validate that first sense.
Yes. Yeah, because when does the intuition lead you wrong? The gut never leads you wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, Raymond.
Raymond's checking in. What's up, brother? How you doing? Welcome to the show. I have Erin Bush on today, by the way. Oh, she's over there. Erin Bush on, by the way. So,
I'm inverted, I think.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Yeah, it's you got to go the other direction. You got to go the other direction. So, ooh. I know. Oh, look, I can reach through the screen. Oh, that would be pretty wicked if my finger popped out over on yours. That would be pretty awesome.
That would be pretty creepy.
You're like, wait a minute.
What is happening here? What is happening here?
But yeah, and that's kind of what it is. And it's I'll even I'll share something with you that I just found, that I just did today. I had a very I say it's a dream, but it wasn't. Whoa. I have people asking me why I'm not live yet. That's weird. I just had a message pop up and it said, "Why aren't you live yet?" And I was like, I am. So that's interesting. Sorry about that. But it was interesting because I last night I told people I told William Nighthawk, which something must be going on with my site, because he's not on here and he's normally always responding left and right. And
yeah, that's true.
I'm missing a few people that aren't quite on here that are normally on here, so I don't know what's going on with my broadcast right now. It's kind of weird.
Somebody had Andrea was debuting a new show earlier, and they couldn't get the Facebook feed to work. They were stuck. They were having issues. They were able to stream on YouTube, but they were having issues connecting to Facebook.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm only on Facebook.
Interesting.
So yeah, Patricia's saying the same thing. She's grappling with now that she's opening up. It's kind of new to her.
Yeah.
And that she's trying to understand more. Yeah, she kind of came in and yesterday she actually asked a couple questions to Michelle. Or last week she actually asked a couple to Michelle. So Michelle's like, "Yep, this is what you need to start doing now." So
yeah.
So Patricia, I'm really happy that you are starting to do this. I really think that's what you needed to do. We actually had that talk when you were on here. So I'm glad you're embracing it and moving forward with it. Remember, if you have questions, we're all here. So, because we're all kind of dealing with the same thing. So, yep.
Patricia sees angels, right?
She does.
That's right. I remember her. That was a very interesting episode.
Yeah, she sees and talks to, and she's the one who kind of blew my mind, because I've been that stereotypical person that I've always seen an angel with wings, and she's like, no, she goes, they're very tall, probably 10 feet tall, and they dress this way, and they don't have wings, but other types of angels do. It depends on what type of angel it is. So it was very interesting with her to have that talk. So, there she is. Hi, Miss Taryn. How are you? So it looks like people are starting to get into the links, so that's good. Hopefully it's working now. So hi, Taryn. Taryn is the one that I talked about earlier. I love
Taryn.
Yep. Taryn is the one who owns Paranormal Brew, and that was the one. In fact, let me jump back out here really quick. Right there. I advertise on her show or on her channel, so people please go out and share all that wonderful stuff to the Paranormal Brew site. That is a fantastic site to go to if you want more stuff paranormal. Go out there. She has her own site. She actually does her own show, and it'll be coming on, I believe, Wednesday. Sorry, Taryn, I don't quite remember your times for your shows because you're into so much now, but make sure you go out there and check out facebook.com/paranormal brew. You'll find out all the information you need about Paranormal Brew, her shows, the other shows she's going to have on, everything else right there. So go out and check her out. I really appreciate her being able to allow me to advertise my show on her page. Okay.
Heck yeah. Well, But I think like with Patricia, you know, I think for all of us as sensitives, everybody's so different, right? So like your abilities are different than my abilities are different. You know,
Right.
some of us have multiple clair abilities, some of us have one or two, you know,
Right.
so you know, we're all wired differently.
And
And the things we see are different.
and that was something I was totally unaware of. When I first started asking questions about my abilities when I got them, I was like, all right, so all of us can do this. And they're like, no. I'm like, well, all of us can do this. They're like, no. And I'm like, what the heck? Oh, see, again, that's 2 weeks in a row. I got to figure out what's going on with my connection to BB3. So sorry about that, Erin, but I got to figure out what's going on with that. Yeah, that was the question I had. I was like, well, why don't we? How come we're not all, you know? And then when I started talking to, well, I didn't have the guests till a year later, but the handful of people I knew, part of my investigation team, and the new people I was meeting, everything else, I couldn't figure out what was going on and how come we all didn't have the same abilities.
Right.
And I still don't have an answer for why we don't all have the same abilities, but I just know we don't all have the same abilities. And
it's true.
Yeah, and it's weird how we're kind of selected, I guess is the best way to say, to have the abilities that you have.
Yes.
Are you, and this is going to go really nerdy, people, I'm sorry, but is it because you're from a different star family than someone else? I mean, even though, you know, we're all tied together, but when we separate out from our star families, you still have that connection with them.
Yep.
And I noticed that I believe Joni White Buffalo, who is actually my first mentor, I believe she and I might be from the same star family because we have a lot of the same similarities, and I act like we've known each other forever. Yeah. And so I'm wondering if that's how, I mean, that's kind of how our abilities are drawn too, is based off of what star family you're part of.
I think that's probably true. Or you're a balance of, you know, an inverse balance to someone in your star family, or, you know, because you're right. Like there's some people that you meet and it's just, you've known them for you're certain several lifetimes, not sure how many, but you go way back further than the current meat suit situation that you're in. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just know that for sure. You don't know how you know it, but you know that without a doubt. You know?
Right. Taryn, good catch. That is not supposed to be there. That has actually been changed, so I don't know why that one's still up there. For some reason, my logo up here still shows one that I'm no longer with. So we will just go to that one because I'm sure we'll need it at some point tonight.
I'm trying my best to be very well behaved.
You don't have to. Now that I have that up there, you don't have to. Everyone's been warned.
My mother's going, oh my God.
She's going, hold it together, Erin, hold it together.
Limit the 4-letter words, Erin. Limit the 4-letter words.
So Patricia, yes, Patricia, I know it's sometimes phones just suck. But sorry, I'm trying to type and it's just not working on my phone. It seems there are 3 paths that she needs to follow, but then there is real life where I need to work. So I'm trying to figure out how to do both. Yes.
The balance is real.
You know,
yeah.
It's weird how, although I've been doing this for so long, people at work are just now figuring out what I did because I just now invited some of them into it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was very much a balancing act of trying to do my work life and then wrap my head around doing this and then going on investigations and then meeting new people and setting up stuff like this. So yes, it was very, here you go. She's helping you out. Oh, damn. Does that help? So she thought of her own 4-letter word for you. So we're all good. Cat broke the ice.
Yes, Cat. So. Love it. Yeah, I think, but that's a tough balance to find. I mean, and I think especially depending on what kind of field you're in. Yeah. You know, for me, I was part of that Great Resignation. I had been burnt out for years, probably 4 or 5 years. So well before I started this journey. And then I just realized I'm like, I can't, you know, like the current situation in the world, like I kind of have to stay kind of in a place that's energetically clear or at the beach or like the world right now, the collective is entirely too much. So like,
oh my goodness.
It's and so you have to find that balance. And I think that's the biggest struggle is learning how to, again, going back to energy, how to really ground and protect your energy because as a sensitive, you can't survive without it. Once you know that that's how you're wired.
Yeah.
One of my mentors told me that energetic hygiene should be as important as brushing your teeth twice a day for sensitives, because you got to clear that stuff out every day as best you can. We
Right.
pick up things all the time.
Yeah, and that's what Nikki's saying too. It's hard to
Mhm.
think. She's a teacher for high school.
Yep.
Not many of her students know. Some do, because she actually has crystals on her desk, and some of them will ask, "What are the crystals for?"
Love it.
And some of them are just very in tune and pay attention, so they'll ask more inquisitive questions to her, and she'll tell them.
Yeah.
If they seem to be those kind of students, and some of the students are like, "Oh, that's cool because I kind of believe I have that stuff too." So,
Yep.
but she does try to keep it out of her workplace. For me, the energy is holy. It's I have to deal with what's going on around the world on a daily basis all the time
Yeah.
when I'm at work, and then
Yeah.
trying to release all that and come do something like this.
It's hard.
That's yes, but I've been doing it for so long, because I've been actually in part of and around the military now for 32 years.
Wow.
So I've learned how to make that separation, and my switch is very quick now. So hey, Bill, what's going on, brother? Say hi to Aaron. Oops, Aaron. Say hi to Aaron.
Hi, Bill.
But yeah, it's something that I've learned to do very quickly. I mean, when I leave work, once I hit outside, I know that once the sunlight hits me or the snow hits me, whatever it is outside that's on the ground at the time, that's my separation point.
Yep.
And I start to break that down even before I'm in my vehicle.
Yep.
And once I'm in my vehicle, I'm already pretty much done. And from my door to my vehicle, for me, because I get to work, oh my God, early, so I get a really good parking spot. It's only about 10-second walk. But even in that 10 seconds from being outside, I have totally disassociated myself with my work already.
Yep.
So it's just something that I've had to train myself to do. So Nikki has a question for you. What have you found is your best grounding technique?
I love it because she asks the question I ask everybody all the time. I believe, it's funny because I do ask everybody I see on one of these shows because everybody always offers something different. For me, I spend a lot of time at the beach. So a lot of earthing, grounding, visualizing energy, just kind of leaving the body with every step. That ionized air is just awesome. So, I really focus on pushing the energy out through my feet into the ground.
So I have to share this with you because you just made that statement. I love you and hate you all at the same time.
I know, most people do.
Because I am a West Coast beach person.
Yeah.
And now I live in Nebraska. So I don't have that option to just go do what you do and walk on the beach and do that.
Yeah, we're East Coast, so it's a little warmer over here. But yeah, I mean, I think there's really, and you're starting to see all these articles now scientifically about the benefits of earthing, and getting your feet in the ground. And, I do a lot of work with clients visualizing tree roots, which I do myself. If I'm having like that floaty headed feeling, like where you're just feeling super disconnected from your body. That's usually the easiest way for me is to get in, get my bare feet in the earth or the sand or the water or wherever. And then visualize the tree roots really kind of bringing me back down.
Right.
And I also work with a lot of crystals. So I'm pretty well covered when I go out. So I usually wear shungite, obsidian, jet, anything that's kind of more of a negative bouncer or a grounding type stone, tiger's eye, we can keep going. But I try to be well prepared before I leave the house. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So Kat has a question, and I have a question after this. What advice do you have for trying to help someone build walls of protection when investigating that doesn't know how? Oh, I have an answer for this one too. So
yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because when I first started this stuff, I couldn't visualize anything. I couldn't even throw a shield up around myself.
Right.
I would say, intention's a lot of it before you even have to go into putting up walls and things like that. I think a lot of it is going into a space with the right frame of mind, with a good intention. And then you can protect yourself with, like I said, with crystals or whatever resonates for you. Some people can just visualize a shield of golden light around them. Not everybody's shield looks the same, just like not everybody's method of putting a wall up is the same. For me, it would be intent, respect, reverence, knowing my limitations, things like that. Just kind of having yourself prepared before you walk in the door. But a lot of people, it's a shield, but it looks so different to everyone. But I think it's really knowing where you're going, respecting it for what it is. Don't be fearful, because
Right.
fear's
Yeah.
fear helps nothing ever, right?
Just a
So
victim in waiting right there.
I think that's your biggest wall of protection, if you want to call it that, is just having good intentions, having good energy when you walk into a space, but know your limitations and don't test them too much, because you want to stay safe, you know?
Right. And Kat, this is I kind of want to expand on that a little bit. Yeah, Kat, that's exactly right. What resonates with you doesn't resonate. Everyone's different. And I found this out because when I first started investigating with my team, they were like, well, in order to get your protection, you need to imagine yourself inside of a bubble.
Right.
And for me, that doesn't work.
Doesn't work for me.
I am not a bubble guy.
I'm not either.
It just tell them it needs to be something that they can associate with it. For me, like I said, I'm a huge nerd. You can see my back wall back there. I'm a huge Superman fan.
Yeah.
And my shield, my protection literally is kind of that suit, that impenetrable suit. But mine is actually like a really nerding out here, but it's really like a gold dragon scale. It's impenetrable. So and I wanted it so tight on me because Nikki will tell you I have no fear of anything because I'm too dumb to know any better. But I want that spirit or that whatever it is to walk right up on me and get as close as it wants to. And I know that it cannot touch me at all because my shield is basically on my skin.
It's built in.
Right. And when it goes to touch me, it can't do anything. It's just hitting my shield.
Right.
So it has to resonate with what they want. For me, it's a superhero. For other people, it's going to be something else. So really
anything that you can assign that power to,
right?
Whatever that is, if it's a totem, if it's like you said, it's your armor.
Yes.
You know, and there's no. I think that's the biggest misunderstanding with this stuff too. Is yes, there's a right and a wrong way to investigate, as we all know, and a right and wrong way to treat spirits. But there's no right or wrong way to ground your energy, protect your energy, because like you said, all of our abilities are different. How we manage them is different. How we ground them is different. And none of them are wrong. What works for you may not. But that's why I find it so important to ask everybody that question, because I always learn something new.
Right.
Things I wouldn't have thought of that maybe I would want to build in to my own practice, you know?
Right.
So,
but
I think that's important to know. It doesn't have to resonate with everyone else.
Yeah.
You do your own thing.
Yeah. And that's kind of, like I said, I explained mine and people are like, well, that's odd. And I'm like, but it's what I have complete faith in.
Yes.
You can put a bubble around me all you want. All I'm gonna do is walk through that sucker and bust it, because I am not. I am a bull in a china shop, kids. And there's no way a bubble is gonna stay around me. Nope, it has to be something that's gonna be able to hold. That's really hold through. So what are you saying? Oh, I'm always hoping to learn more. That's right. Kat does ask that question a lot. I think she asked it to a couple of my other guests, and it's interesting some of the answers we get, because some will just tell you, this is what I do. But not everyone says, this is what I do, but you need to do something different. They give their opinion and they just move on.
Yeah.
Which I'm really happy that you brought up, that there's more. That's exactly what it is. It's an opinion. It's your faith-based practice on what protects you. It's not the end all be all of what it is.
Well, like even when I do Reiki, I mean, for example, for Kat, like say it's somebody with chronic pain, I like to explain to my clients what I visualize, because then they're also got the same intent. But I'll tell them what the energy looks like to me may not look the same to you, and that's fine. You know, I always tell people it looks like Dr. Strange of energy. That's always kind of what it feels like to me. Yeah. And, you know, so I'll just kind of use that as a reference point. I'm like, but if it looks different color, different shape, different altogether, that's fine. I just, you know, if we have the same intent, that's all that matters. How it appears to you doesn't matter at all to me.
Yep. So see, Nikki threw this out too, because I told her mine. So she did the same thing. Told her mine, and she has something like a Wonder Woman suit, because she's learned that she can feel them. Yep. She didn't know what it was initially.
Clairsentience.
Well, before, when we would go on investigations, she'd feel stuff on her hand, and that's where it touches her on the back of her hands. And she's like, is that like a spider web, or is that a hair? So she's always going like this at a time. And then she kind of figured out, oh, this is them. This is how I can sense them. but they can't do anything else because of my armor, my shield I'm wearing.
Yeah.
So, and that's how she figured it out.
But that's what's so cool about that discussion, because you literally everything runs the gamut when you talk about how do you protect yourself and how do you keep yourself safe. It's literally everything from crystals to cat suits of art. I mean, you name it, it's there.
If you want this to be your shield because you hold this can be.
Yes.
If you have complete faith and utter belief that this is your protection, this is my baby rhino, by the way. This is a skull baby, and he's holding a little rhino. That's why he's a little rhino horn. Someone gave him to me because one of my animals is a rhino. But they gave it. If I believed that this is what was actually going to protect me when I went investigations, and I put this in my pocket, I wear it like one of the cool little the old style Brady Bunch token tikis on my neck with a necklace during the Hawaiian trip, and that would be what protects me. So it's just what you have the faith in to protect you.
100% agree. I mean, some people carry certain, statues of saints or some people have certain bracelets or whatever. It's just whatever you decide gives you the power, or whatever you assign the power to keep you spot.
Yeah, I don't carry. I mean, I wear a lot of stuff, but it's just I don't wear it for me. I actually wear it for others. Yeah, because I can charge these and I can do stuff with them. And when I feel people need them, I'll just take them off and I'll hand it to them. I'm like, hold this. And they'll do that. And they're like, well, this is amazing. Why is my hand tingling? And I'm like, just hold it for a few minutes and you'll be fine.
Yeah. I had a pendant that I swear by. It was when I first got off the meds I no longer needed. I started wearing lithium quartz because my anxiety was a bit and I gave that a lot of power, quartz. So I programmed it, with intent, obviously. And that stone I will swear by for that kind of stuff till the end of my days. I've broken 2 of them just from taking hits from me over time. But I do the same thing. Like if I in my practice with anything I do, if I haven't tried it myself, I'm not going to make you do it, Right. So I do the same kind of thing. I tend to overstack stones. So if I'm at an event, like at a Paracon or something, I can just hand it off. You need this more than I do today. Yeah.
There's a lot of my purchase that I no longer own because I hand them to someone else.
Same.
And they're like, this is fantastic. I'm like, well, that must belong to you. I just had it in my pocket, but apparently I bought it for you.
Yeah.
Because it really works for you. And I was just carrying it around, charging it. So,
I mean, I put Reiki in stones. I put Reiki in beach sand. I mean, you can, assign the tent and put power into anything.
Right. Yeah. So, Kathleen, right there, you're Miss Mama's Ting. Like Dumbo the elephant who didn't trust his ears, had to hold on to the feather. Yeah, exactly. It's what it is. So
she also knows that movie makes me cry worse than anything. And they got the.
See, Kat's the same way. I always have extra stones for the same reason. And I'll tell you, I wear a couple of bracelets to work, and I always wear my copper. Mm-hmm. But I never put stones in my pocket.
Me either.
There's days that I'm getting ready to leave for work, and all of a sudden I stop and I'm like, man, I should grab a couple of stones. And I'll put them in my pocket and I'll just hold on to them. And then all of a sudden someone will come up to me and they're like, and I can tell. And I'm like, I grabbed that stone for that person.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll hand it to them. Here, hold this for like a half an hour.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, woo, that was interesting. So what do you do? And I'm like, I don't know why I had it, but I knew I had it.
Well, and sometimes the universe will do that. Be like, oh, today apparently I'm supposed to grab my soda light or whatever. It's because I work with stones a lot with the Reiki. So I tend to intuitively pick them before sessions. And it's pretty amazing how dead on they tend to be. Like the universe just tells you what you're going to need to work with. But I also think, too, if you're carrying something and you know the power of it already, just having it on you is already infusing it even more with what you're about to hand over to them.
Right. Yeah. And
so it's already charged, ready to rock, and pretty powerful stuff if you can align with that,
So I'm curious because you do Reiki. So Nikki knows this. Other people that have been on my show have heard me talk about this before a couple of times. But it's interesting because I do something that I haven't come across too many people that do. And the only way I can describe it is John Coffey from the Green Mile. Uh-huh. When I hug someone, like if they're sad, if they're sick, if they're tired, if they're anxious, whatever, if I give them a hug and I hold them with a purpose, I can feel their shoulders drop. And I just keep holding them and I feel them drop a second time. But when I hear that huge exhale go out,
Yep.
I've basically taken whatever it is from them and I've
Mhm.
taken it into myself, and I'm perfectly fine with this because it doesn't hurt me at all.
Yep.
And I let them go, and they're like, "Holy cow, I feel amazing!" And I just let it go.
Because
And
you're a pure transmuter of energy. That's why.
but that's so odd because I did not know that.
Yeah.
But I've been that way since I was younger, high school. I mean, everyone would tell me, "Man, I love your hugs."
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
never
yeah.
understood why until just this last recent few months when someone's like, "Man, this is," and it really came from my investigation team where a couple of the ladies we were on, I'd give them a hug. Like one of our girls was just tired because she's the one who actually opens up and talks and hears and does everything else. And she's done and she's tired. And I'll grab a hold of her and I'll just give her a hug. And she just goes, whew, and I can feel her just completely drop. And then when I let go, she's like, "All right, let's go again." And she's like, "What happened? I have all this energy now." I was like, "We're good."
Well, you're able to take it without absorbing it. So basically, it's like it's almost a different way of being a conduit, kind of like as a Reiki practitioner would. You're able to absorb that in and then just let it go. Andrea Perron's the same way. That's what she's notorious for that.
And that's what I'm saying with you being a Reiki. That's kind of, it's kind of to me. It was very, to me, that's probably one of the coolest things I can do.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's so simple for me.
It is. And that's the thing. Reiki is simple too. It's just, being attuned to the symbols, understanding it. Like for me, I focus a lot on people with chronic pain because I've dealt with that too.
Right.
But my Reiki is a little bit different. Some people are like, "Oh, well, it's got to be at least an hour." Nah, give me 10, 15 minutes. Let me do my thing. And I will, again, you're talking about intent and what you're focusing things on. And I really try to, I had a situation recently with a friend of mine. We were going to do a session, but she was getting ready to do an investigation the next night. And I'm like, well, this is interesting because I don't want to fill you up with too much source energy because they may not approach you the same on your investigation, right?
Right.
She was going to St. Albans. And so I certainly didn't want to mess up with her energy at all. So, but she was really her energetic field was kind of full, right?
Right.
Like on the fly, I'm like, all right, well, let's kind of tweak. So I did my meditation a little bit differently. How we approached the energy coming to her was different. So I feel like I'm always expanding because I'm always learning something different. And when you talk about the hugs, when you talk about these torus fields that we all have, they go up through your feet, out your head, around, 3 to 5 feet, everybody's got one. So as soon as a high vibrating person like you comes in, your energy fields come in contact, it's almost like canceling out the lower vibration. Okay. It's kind of how I feel like that happens because you're able to absorb it and then let it go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. Yeah, and in fact, our team is kind of amazed because we go on 3-day investigations. We start on a Friday, we end on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And by Sunday, I'm like, all right, and I'm like just still bumped, and they're like,
yeah,
Tom, we've been doing this for 3 days. Why are you this excited? And why are you have this much energy on our third day? You should be done. And I'm like, nope, because I'm charging crystals. I'm hugging people.
Yep.
I'm protecting others. And I'm doing all this. And they're like, why do you have this much energy and you don't drink coffee? And I'm like, I don't know. It just happens. So while we're talking about your stuff, I'm also going to show this again. But for those of you people who want to know how to get a hold of her, this is her page. So if you go out to Erin Bush's page out here, and you go to this site, you're going to see there's 4 different links that you can click on out there. The reason I know this is because I actually research the people. I don't just grab their links and actually just type them up.
Smart man.
When you go out there, you can actually click on these links, and it'll show you her Soul Waves page. It'll show you all her Reiki stuff. It'll show you all the other stuff that she has. So this is where you can go to find out all the cool stuff about her. I'm going to let it run one more time so they get it. And then I also want to let people know that if you want to get a hold of her through email or anything else, she actually has this link right here. soulwavesekb@gmail.com. And this is where you can get a hold of her as well and ask questions or whatever else.
Yep.
And so these are the 2 links. And I'm going to show them again as we keep going, probably 1 or 2 more times. But I want people to be able to reach out to you.
That's awesome.
Because that's what you do. So
it is. And people are really, this is a really tough time and people are overwhelmed and they don't know why. Kind of like they don't know why they feel so much better after you hug them. They don't understand the energetic impact of.
I don't understand it.
Everything. Well, we don't, it's funny because we're dealing like at the quantum level really at that point when we're talking about this stuff, which I don't understand either. Most of the quantum physicists don't completely understand quantum physics, but I do know enough to know that it permeates everything. We're all made of the same stuff. And it's really, really heavy. Did that just come on randomly?
That's my flame, but it really kicked on. Like it's been little the whole time, and now it's just bouncing.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's still pretty monstrous back there, and it's just bouncing away.
Yeah.
And it just now, it's been little the whole time, and every show I've had, it's just been little, and now it's just monstrous. I don't know what's going on back there. So Nikki has a series of statements here. Can you explain what you said when you did Reiki for your friend before the investigation? What do you mean that you didn't want to change her energy?
So
hold on. Let me finish these out. I'm asking because I feel we can shut down places and the spirits get really quiet on us. And then she says, but Tom thinks it's him that scares spirit away, but sometimes I wonder if it's me. So, okay. Your turn.
So God, I hadn't come across that kind of situation before. That thing's going.
I know, it's going nuts back there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I hadn't run across that before, but we were talking about, she was leading this investigation. And she was pretty adamant that she didn't want anything to kind of intermingle with, she wanted to kind of be at her baseline energy. It's how she would normally be at an investigation, right? So like when I'm channeling energy, I'm usually doing, when I first start with a client, first thing is rebalancing, just kind of the chakras, kind of clearing them out. So you're pumping a ton of source energy into that person's body and their energy field. So you're going to glow a little bit differently, right? Because that's some seriously high vibrational stuff. So, but what we did instead, because when I normally in a session, when I'm done and I've closed the session out, I leave that energy in there to do its job, right? Source energy is an intelligent energy, really doesn't need a whole lot of help from me, but it will stay in that person's energy field and body. So we didn't want her to glow differently. Right. So we just stuck to her external field. And I basically kind of, when I grounded her, I do gold from the cosmos down to the crown. And instead of going inside, we just envisioned it kind of like you're talking about, like a wetsuit, really tight around the body all the way around, tree roots into the earth. And then you do black coming up the other way. So then we just kind of envision it separating when we were coming out of the meditation so that it pulled away from her body. So the energy field was clean, but the energy had been removed.
Right.
That was the theory. So that's what that was.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird. And the reason why this conversation came up with Nikki was because so I have been told in the past that and I'm still waiting. I don't want to say I'm waiting to experience it, but I'm waiting. I get the feeling it's going to happen at some point. We have been told by numerous people that I am a very old, ancient type of soul. So I've been doing this for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So some of the spirits we come across will not engage me. I know, I see it. I can see it in the reflections.
It's somebody and it's confirming every time something is said. That's what's happening.
But they're saying that when I come into a room, they don't want to engage me because they're a lower spirit or a lower energy type of thing. But they're saying that when it comes to the point where the stronger or the higher type spirits that want to challenge, then I'm going to be the one that challenge, and they'll leave the other people alone.
Right.
So I'm anticipating that. I'm hesitant of it, but again, I am absolutely not afraid of anything. So I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, but I think again, that's intent too. I mean, and spirits have intentions. You know, they may not be drawn to you or me, but that, you know, because I do believe we glow a bit differently, especially when you're if you're channeling spirit too. That thing is just, it's hilarious.
I know. I can see it in the reflection of my mirror, of my camera.
It's really funny.
And of course the camera itself, but yes. And it stops every once in a while. It just kind of quiets down.
It's somebody.
And then when we start talking about something, it's like, yep, you're right. Yeah, exactly. That's what it seems like it's doing.
It's confirming things.
Right.
But yeah, I think it depends. Spirits are different, just like humans are. They're still humans. They're just in a different energetic form. So I don't know that you can blanket statement it for everyone, but I would be interested to see if that's true.
Yeah.
You know, because we do glow a little bit differently to them. Maybe it depends on the location. Maybe it depends on the spirit. And I think it really just depends on that particular instance that you're dealing with. You know what I mean?
Kat thinks it's me. So yeah, I agree. I agree, Kat. I am kind of scary. I mean, look at me.
I don't think so.
But yeah, it's And so here's something else that we talked about too. There's some places we go into that are like, they've been insane asylums, they've been past hospitals, whatever else. But then there's other places we investigate that are just strictly been homes.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like our women are not, in fact, she just typed that up. Our women are not the shy, quiet types. So when they go in there, they will speak their minds and everything else. And that has a tendency to shut down some of the locations, because the guys are like, this is not how women talk. This is not how not how. So it'll just shut our place down.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that this is not how women should act. So they don't want to engage. And we've had a handful of them. So I'll even put that up so everyone can see. A lot of my thoughts, because very much type A personality, very outspoken. So yes, true.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was saying, is because we go into a lot of places and it just gets quiet.
Yeah.
Or we've actually had to where our women are asking questions and you'll hear "not you" or "shut up" or whatever else. But if the guy speaks, it's perfectly fine.
Sure.
And our girls do not like that. They will like, nope, I'm talking. Screw you.
Yeah.
Go to hell. So
and that's the thing, I mean, you also get into, like different styles of investigating and who, how each team does it. So I think it's, just as humans are different, spirits and locations are the same way,
Right. Yep.
It'd be tough to blanket statement, that it's just one way, because that would take the fun out of it too. Like if we had the answers to all this, what would we be doing with our life?
I've done that already.
Yeah. What would we be doing instead?
Yeah.
Way less exciting for sure.
I'd probably have to go into cooking or something where something's different.
Yeah. Well, like if you talk about locations, I mean, you look at the Conjuring house, prime example, that farmhouse, right?
Yeah.
If you go in, as several TV shows have figured out, and other investigators, if you go in without the correct amount of reverence and respect that place deserves. Now, I haven't been there, but I know this already. That house talks to people, especially if you're in that kind of energy field with that family.
Right.
You see all kinds of crazy things. But I do feel, but you have prime examples of that. Like if you have a situation like did that big live stream last fall, they had a lot of activity, things were happening, but none of it was scary, right? But the intent was to be respectful. The intent was to be and investigative, right?
Yeah. And we have, I won't use names, but people who know our investigations know what I'm talking about. We have followed in other groups into locations, and they are very provoking.
Yeah.
So when we get there, the places are still pretty angry and pretty violent.
Yeah. So you're in like cleanup mode.
Yeah, not realizing that we are not that same group, and we are not coming in there, because we actually go in doing our damnedest to just try to figure out the truth through love and understanding. We always tell them that we're not here to make you do dog and pony shows. We're actually only trying to elicit responses so we can help get the truth.
Yes.
We're not going to provoke you. We're not going to do anything else. We just want to talk. We just want to hear your stories.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of times we've actually figured things out by going in like that. But there's been a couple of times we've gone in, and it was after a certain team has been in before us, and it was just
crazy.
Okay, people, that's up there, way up there in that corner above Erin for a reason. They would just be like, "Fuck you, go to hell."
Yeah.
And we're like, "Look, that wasn't us. You're talking to the wrong
flag. Guy. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
You're talking to the wrong group."
Yeah.
And I will tell you, when stuff like that happens, my team is very good about going, "Look, that wasn't us."
Right.
I am not.
Yeah.
As I said, I am the bull in the china shop. So if we go into something and people are like, and they get confronting with us, I confront back. I don't do it maliciously, but I'm like, look, that wasn't us. You need to back the hell up, understand what we're here for. And I kind of take it different. And there's even been a couple of my teammates who've been like, "Tom, stop provoking." I'm like, I'm not provoking. I'm just trying to put them in their place and let them know who we are.
Well, I think too. I mean, you have to, in certain situations, you have to draw boundaries. I mean, there's boundaries in every situation, and I think there's a fine line. I mean, you can definitely, like you said, you have to do that. Sometimes you have to be firm, and you have to be, but then you have people who just buck the system and do all the things they're told not to do, and then they wonder why they're getting terrorized and attached. It's like, well, And
You're not
tips,
Zach
again,
Bagans and you're not on a TV show, so get over it.
can I use this
So,
again? This guy, don't be a dick and it will be fine.
right?
Just respect the place, the energy and stuff. It's not that
Yes.
hard.
Pull head out of ass, wipe off eyes. You're missing a good game, people. Come on. Jesus.
It's so true.
So you've been out on investigations, obviously.
You know what? I actually have not. Funny story. I am going on my first like actual real life investigation in May.
In May.
I've done 2 events, but those, that's when you've got groups of 16 or 20 people, and I'm really kind of a handler at that point.
Right.
So it's hard I've never really been able to apply my spidey senses in that kind of environment. So I'm going to Tala in May.
Okay. Very cool.
For my first event.
That kind of kills my question.
Oh, sorry.
So okay, well then but me on the
flight. You
can
ask anyway.
On my flight. Well, I was going to ask what was your most memorable thing that happened on investigation, but I can flip this and
I can't answer that.
I'll let you get back to that. But let me ask this other question: what are you looking forward to trying to gain from this first investigation that you're going on?
So I want to learn. So one of my biggest blessings.
This is a much tougher question anyway. So.
Well, yeah, it's a good question. I think for me, because I've got several of the clair abilities. The one I struggle with the most is the clairsentience. So like if I'm in a spot where someone got stabbed, or I'm going to feel that kind of pain. So, someone gets shot or chokes or whatever. Spidey senses. It's the best way to explain it, right?
Right.
For me, it's to see what am I able, because I'm kind of like you. I feel like I want to be an advocate for them. I don't care. I'm not trying to prove their existence. I don't need to do that, right? Because of what we do. So for me, it's what can I learn from this experience, and how can I help them? I'm not saying in a sense of like moving them on. I am not one of those type. That's not my role. But can I help tell a story? Can I get more information out that hasn't been ascertained by someone yet? Right. And also for me, it's physically, we were at a place in Savannah a couple of weeks ago at the Haunted Paracon, the Sorrel Weed House, where I kind of had to challenge myself to go into a place to see how long I could physically stand the discomfort. Like the throat was closed, So for me, it's kind of to see how can I help, how far can I push myself safely, to try and understand what they're trying to tell me, because I don't always get the messages the same. Sometimes it's downloads, sometimes it's feeling, sometimes I'll see stuff. Again, spirits show it to you in different ways. But I want to see how I can help, I guess, is my biggest thing. And what does it feel like to walk into a place with that kind of power? I mean, I live in a haunted town, but that's a bit different than living in St. Augustine is like this on the scale of, go walking around 242,000 square feet at Tala.
Right.
Right. And I know the spirits I have in my own house and the things I channel for people with Reiki, but how is that going to work for me in an environment that is very unstable? How good are my grounding techniques? We can go back when that was done.
They're going to be as good as you believe they are.
Well, again, let's just like you said, I don't see myself being an investigator long term. This experience is going to be awesome for me.
Yeah.
I think I'd end up being a person who does like baseline readings to start. Like, can I read it energetically? What do I pick up on when I walk through?
Yeah.
But I have a really hard time tuning in when it's a lot of people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't really know what that looks like for me. And I'll know in about a month and a half. We don't even have any paranormal groups in St. Augustine, Florida. Not a single one.
And what's funny is that there's so many paranormal groups in Florida.
I know. None of them here.
Jeez. Well, maybe you need to start one.
Maybe. I've heard that before.
Maybe that's what you're supposed to do. So there you go.
I don't know.
At least to start developing on a regular basis outside of your Reiki. Yeah. Because that's what I was told. I was actually told that investigating is fine for what I do because I'm still developing my abilities, but that is not what I will be doing down the road. I will not be an investigator. I will be somewhere in this realm doing something with my abilities, and I'm always hearing helper, healer, whatever, but
how bright it is now.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see it jumping. But this isn't. It's fun for me to do right now with my friends, and it is
Yeah.
because I'm still developing, and I'm kind of going from needing the validation from them because they've been doing this for so long to
Yes.
trusting my gut and trusting all my
Exactly.
instincts. And there's a lot of times now where I have done stuff, and I used to always ask, all right, so this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm hearing, this is what I'm seeing. Is this what you guys are doing? They're like, yeah. So my validations have been correct.
Yes.
So now I've kind of gone with, instead of saying, is this what I'm feeling? This is, and it's gone to, this is what I'm feeling. So I've taken it from a question to a statement.
Yep. And that's a big battle. I still kind of with that. I still battle with that a little bit to some degree too, because I don't know about you, when I couldn't see anything visually up until about December of last year. I wasn't really able to, and all of a sudden now, like if somebody's doing a YouTube investigation, I'm seeing stuff on the screen. I'm watching.
I've always, so for me, it's weird. I've always been able to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, we did an investigation as our team, but I didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
And 24 hours later, I watched the video and I stopped it and I drew what I saw. And I actually sent it to my team. And when they looked at it, they were like, whoa. And they sent me back what they drew, and we drew the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And they were like, how did you do that? And I go, I have no clue. I just saw it. But and that's one of the things weird is because the one thing I've been able to do, and I thought all of us can do this, but apparently I was wrong. I can physically see, like just like I'm seeing you, elementals. I can hear them.
Fascinated
I can see
by
them.
elementals. Yep.
I can do that stuff, and it's just very weird. That I thought everyone can do that. And someone's like, no, that's pretty unique that you're able to do that with elementals. And I'm like, okay, so cool. But yeah, Kat even knows. Yeah, she sees. I see stuff and watching.
That's what happens to me when I have other teams, and I'm like,
yep.
So then I'm like furiously typing, like, oh my God, is this right? And they're checking the history, and it's like, oh man, so that's new. But the elementals thing, I can sense them, but I can't see them.
Yeah,
I will give visuals. I've seen one. Hopefully when I get to go up there in June, I can confirm it when I'm on the property.
Yeah.
But I have a serious affinity for elementals.
Yeah. It was weird because one of our teammates, one of her guides is a fire elemental.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And we were on an investigation. I just sat there and watched him. I said, yeah, he's pointing down like this. He's doing this. And she's like, what are you? I go, I'm physically watching him. It's like, it's like I'm watching TV. He's that real to me. That real to me, and this is what I can see. And they're like, that's different. And I'm like, not all of us can do that. And they're like, no.
Right.
So
see, and that's I don't see them solidly unless I'm watching it through a screen. If I'm at a location or if I'm walking down the street, it only comes in here.
Yeah.
But like if I'm watching it on a YouTube, like if somebody's doing an investigation and I'm like, that lady just got tossed out of that Palladian window. You know what I mean? It's a physical thing. So it's still trying to figure out what, because again, the information doesn't always come in all the same. And then all of a sudden you're doing things you couldn't do 2 months ago that you weren't even trying to learn.
Yeah.
So it's like you're just constantly expanding those abilities. It's amazing.
Yeah, William's one of those right there. Yeah. So that's what he's saying. Wait till I can see everything. And this is a man who can see everything. He's Native American, veteran. Thank you for your service. And he's someone that I've actually started turning to quite a bit because of my Native American background. And I just don't know anything about there's no one alive to help me understand my Native American heritage. So I really do turn to William quite a bit. You'll notice I'm the only one who calls him William. Everyone else calls him by his really awesome name, Nighthawk.
Nighthawk, yeah.
But I call
him that shamanic side.
Right.
That's really important.
Right. And so he sees and he senses and he can feel it all.
Yeah.
In fact, I even sent him a dream. And to me, it wasn't a dream. It was almost like I was watching this happen live last night. I'll even share it with you guys. Last night when we were laying down to go to sleep, I had my eyes closed and it was almost like I don't want to say I was looking through my third eye, but I always try to focus, almost feel like my eyes are looking up.
Yep. Same.
And all the way across the horizon, in slow motion, I see this huge bird flapping its wings real slow, coming right up over me.
Yeah.
And all of its wings are the colors like you would see in a ceremonial headdress. And once it gets above me, it opens its mouth and it turns all around me and it blows out a blue fire. It's almost like an electric, like a thunderbolt blue, but it's fire. It comes all around me. It covers me, but it doesn't burn me. It doesn't hurt me at all. It's almost like it's trying to protect me from something. So I reached out to William and said, all right, what are you getting from this? So he gave me a very cool answer. as far as what the interpretation was, and I love him for that. And it's very cool because it helps me hopefully expect what's coming up.
Sure.
But it was something that I've never experienced before. But I think it's because I've been working with him.
Yeah.
That's helping tap into my Native American side, my shamanic side, and helps me get to where I'm ultimately trying to go on that path too. Because I'm very much into the spiritual side, but I also have a very strong Native American and a very strong Nordic side.
Yep. Oh, wow. So you're mythology out the yin yang.
Right. So I'm just trying to take it all in.
Yeah.
I want to see how much of it I can gain from both sides and actually use it. I actually want to be able to do this spiritually on both sides of the world like this.
Yep.
So it's very interesting getting William's intake on all this.
Yeah.
So
well, it's like they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right?
Yeah.
I think because that sort of happened, my relationship with Andrea is very much that way. She's very, obviously they have the farmhouse, but then her bigger life's meaning is the galactic family.
Right. Hold on, I have this question. Andrea who?
Andrea Perron.
Okay, just so people know who we're talking about.
From the Conjuring house, the family that lived, because even when you say her name, some people still don't know. So, but
really?
I've learned that recently. It's funny. I hadn't seen the movie when I met them, so I didn't know. So,
okay.
But I've learned a lot about the galactic family, and I think there's the rumor that how many of us are hybrids, how many of us are Arcturian or from Pleiades or wherever.
Right.
And since I've started working with her, I've learned a lot from her. I work with them too. I call them in on all my healings. I see a lot of stuff up here with them. That was wild. The first time I saw that.
Yeah.
I was working on them, Reiki. I'm a medium, but I don't do readings, right? So, but I often will channel when I'm working on energy healing. So, at one point I was working on Andrea, I think, and all of a sudden I see these like white outline, humanoid outlines, but then they had auras outside that worked from red and went all the way out. They were every color. And they were kind of, standing looking. And then all of a sudden, boom, I started getting this rush of images. You're getting their faces. You're getting images of them working on people and like it was the craziest shit I've ever had happen. Like,
yeah.
And it happens relatively often now, where I see them.
Right.
But again, that's the power of your intent, right? Like you're into the shamanic side and the Nordic side. We can make anything we want out of our abilities. It's just how many resources are we going to avail ourselves to?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's interesting because I want to talk to you a little bit about that after the show. That'll be interesting. That conversation will be interesting because I'm going to ask you a question about something that I want your input on, something no one else has really had an input on. So that'll be interesting.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah. So, so your first investigation will be coming up.
First real one. Yeah.
Yeah. Your first real one. So let's go back to that question then, because what is the coolest thing you've experienced while you were on an investigation, even in the group, or what's the coolest or the scariest or the one that's the most memorable or whatever?
So we had a kind of a random when we were in Vegas. So I was out there with Michelle, and obviously Michelle is so unbelievably, like her resume is it's still scrolling on last week's version of your story, right?
Right, I know. My fingers
are incredible.
Out.
So we're in Vegas, right? And we didn't do any investigations for Paraunity. But I kept seeing, you've got that many people in one room, that many sensitives in one room. And I kept looking up towards the ceiling, and Michelle's like, yeah, it looked like fireworks. There was so much energy in the room. There were fireworks, right? And we kept having this spirit. We said he was medium hopping. He died on the property in the casino, right side out of the room. We were all in for this event. And he finally found his way towards us. So Maria's channeling with automatic writing. So she's getting information, and then Michelle's getting information. And then I'm just trying to be the good, like the extra bump of energy that they need to channel.
Right.
And we were all getting different bits of information from this same gentleman, able to kind of piece him together. But that was kind of the weirdest thing that had ever happened in a non-investigative environment, because that's kind of the shit that you're looking for when you're on an investigation, right? And here it is at 4:00 in the afternoon,
yeah,
in the middle of the conference center,
right?
but the scary, and it wasn't scary, but the most recent when we were in Savannah, because like I said, I've only been in this world like 6 months, so I don't really have a ton of, live experience as far as investigations go. Plenty of haunted stories around here in St. Augustine, but the Sorrel Weed House was really difficult because there was an EVP from one of the ghost hunter shows in 2005. History was basically this: it was a plantation house. Plantation owner had basically had one of his slaves as a kept woman, right?
Oh yeah.
In the carriage house. So we're in the main house, don't know the story of this yet. And as soon as Andrea and I hit the air when we walked out, both of our throats closed up.
Oh.
Couldn't breathe anymore. And the chest sinking. And so we're both kind of looking at each other. She's like, I'm not going in. And I'm like, well, I have to. I need to see how long I can tolerate this.
Right.
But we don't know the story yet. So come to find out, she was supposedly found her hanged in the room he kept her in. But of course, anyway, whatever. But I couldn't breathe. My airway was basically completely severed. So I was good. I was like, all right, I'm going to go in to the carriage house. And we go up the stairs and they give you the option to go into the room where they found her or not. Mm-hmm. I couldn't even walk. There was like an energetic barrier. It wouldn't let me go further once I hit the top of the stairs. I physically couldn't go past that energy there. So you got that going on. I still can't breathe. I'm like, okay, how long are we going to be up here for? Because right. I don't want to be the one that runs out. And it's not because I'm scared. I just can't breathe. Right. So finally the little tour guide, who was awesome, by the way, called it. She's like, okay, we're done. We're going downstairs. And of course, the minute you get off the property, the throat let go.
Right.
But it took a couple hours for the chest to recover, you know? Yeah. So it wasn't so much that it was scary, but it was kind of like I had the cognizant mindset to be, okay, this is happening. This is one of these things that happens to me. I need to see how far I can go.
Yeah.
Because if I'm in an investigation, I'm going to be somewhere for 6 or 8 hours in a night, and that kind of stuff is going. I need to be able to interpret it.
Right.
How what are they trying to tell me?
Right.
And then be able to tolerate it.
And can you withstand it? Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's very much a physical. I get a lot of the physical effects for things. So I don't mind the visuals. I don't mind the things I hear, but the physical is tough.
Right.
So
I'm curious because you were talking about when you were with Michelle and everybody, and mm-hmm. And that energy, the hopper was going around, the medium hopper was going around.
Yeah.
I'm curious. This question just happened to randomly pop into my head. So you do Reiki, you can channel, you can feel the physical. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of the clairs. Mm-hmm. Is there one that you don't have that you're hoping to develop? Is there some, like, because you said like your friend does, like one of them does automatic writing, one of them does. Is there one that you're like, man, I really wish I could do that? And is there a way to develop it? Or are you hoping to be able to find a way to develop it because you can tap into so much other stuff to help you gain that ability?
It used to be clairvoyance. That was a big one for me because I couldn't see anything at all. And so that one I really have probably tried to dive into the most. Mm-hmm. And I think initially it was for, like, we were talking about validation, because it's like I can feel stuff. Right. I know I'm being stabbed in the kidney and it sucks, but like I don't have, I don't have anything to see, to validate, so clairvoyance was a big one for me. So I really started setting that as an intention to be able to see things better. And I will tell, like, if I'm channeling any of my clients or any sessions, I'll say, if anybody's got a message, give it to me. But I'm very specific. I'll tell them I receive them better this way, or I try to at least establish some kind of a baseline, because obviously when we're connecting, they're coming down and we're going up, right? So we exist somewhere in this fourth dimensional plane.
Right.
But if I can get them to give me the information in a way that I can more easily regurgitate it or understand it, then it helps them get the message through quicker, instead of, like slapping me on the face 17 times and that's not working. So now we're just going to push you down the stairs. So, it's just more to like help them understand more what I can do. Right. Because they can do all of it. So it's just a matter of meeting in the middle, I think. But if I had to pick one, it was clairvoyance. But that's getting better. Okay. But again, that's intent. Just setting the intent to receive the information better that way. Right. Yeah, I was just curious. I've never asked anyone that question before, but I was like, it's a good one. So. Well, a lot of people don't realize they have multiple clairs. Right. Some people think that they see things. That's the only way. I mean, you look at a Cindy Kaza. My God. that woman, amazing. But she, you know, she sees, she hears, she's
She's great.
psychometry, she's automatic writing. I mean, I got a chance to sit with her for like 20 minutes in Savannah and just like pick her brain. Funny enough, I bought one of her coasters there. Guess which one I picked? It was an elemental. I'll send a picture of it to you later.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, but for me, I think I want to develop them all.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like I said earlier, I drinking from a fire hose. I survived it all.
Yes.
What else you got? I want to know it all. You know,
we just get to pick the hydrants now that the fire, the water comes out of.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. I'm like, all right, cool. So I survived my first battle, and I haven't gone completely insane. Well, no more than I already was before this all happened. And I seem to have at least a baseline knowledge of the stuff I've learned. I'm definitely not an expert in anything, but a baseline knowledge of what I've learned. Now let's go next. And
it's trial by fire every time. It's just, here's the lesson. That comes first before the test, actually. So the test comes before the lesson.
Yeah.
So I think we have to learn a lot of it that way, you know. but again, we don't know what we're capable of until it starts happening, because we don't really believe we can do all that stuff till it starts happening.
Right. And I just wanted, I just, like I said, I want to be able to do it all.
I want to learn it all.
Yes. I am selfish. I understand that. I want to be able to do it all.
Again, you're a light worker. I think that voracious love for knowledge comes when you found the path you're on. It's like how we started talking in the beginning. Like, I don't think that's selfish.
And it's funny you say that I'm a light worker, because I don't know any of this stuff. I don't know that I'm a light worker. I don't know that I don't know any of that stuff. All I know is that the things I know are just because people be like, hey, this is what you do because you're seeing this, you're hearing this, you're feeling this. This is what you are. But as far as terminology, I still suck at the terminology. I'm terrible at it.
Well, I mean, light worker is as simple as, you know, anyone who's put on this planet with a higher path to raise the vibration of the planet. I think is really the best way to do it. And that's what we're all doing.
I've been told my vibration is ridiculous. So
you're a light worker, man.
Yeah, that's a handful of people who have told me that. So my teammates don't like the fact my vibration runs so high, because when we go into investigations, all of a sudden I'm overwhelming to them. A lot of them are like, oh my God, I can't be this close to you because you're giving me a headache.
Yeah,
I can't
happens.
Focus because you are too much. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do.
That happened to me in Vegas. I blew two. Michelle will tell you this. I blew two people out with my solar plexus. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know. I was like, I'm really sorry. I don't know what that means. You know, I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't know. I slept well last night. I don't know where it's coming. You know, I
tell people, I'm like, this is natural. I don't even drink. Imagine if I drank, what I'd look like and what I'd be like. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So they'd make me do a podcast instead of a live stream. So it would be terrible.
I think it's that just obsession, not obsession, that's not the right word, but like the passion for this stuff. It's like once you've it's like the dog without it, like you can't let it go. And it's like, okay, what am I going to read now? What subject, you know, if you talk about the shamanic stuff, I got, you know, I read a couple like books on, you know, Toltec art of life and death. I mean, you just pick anything that is interesting and you just run with it. You know what I mean? So I got so excited. I knocked my headphones out.
The funny bad thing is I don't read a damn thing. I am terrible about doing research. And I'm told that's one of my weaknesses is I don't meditate and I don't research. Mm-hmm. But I've never felt the need to meditate. I always feel like the answers is always just coming to me anyways.
Yeah.
And that was the discussion that I had with Michelle, as a matter of fact. We talked about that it seems like when I'm asked questions that I've never had any experience with, as far as I know, a voice pops into my head and says, just start talking, you know this answer. Yeah. And I can just start talking and I'm like, holy crap, this actually makes sense. And a lot of people are like, wow, I never thought of it that way, but that makes a lot of sense. I'm like, how did I do that? And I'm like,
it's true. They're down. So do you get a lot of like tonal stuff in your ears?
Not as much as my wife does.
A lot of that's downloads that we get.
Yeah, she gets tons of them. For me, it's just, it really is just a voice saying, just start talking.
Claircognizance.
You know it. Just do it. You know, and I'm like, oh, what am I, Nike commercial? So yeah. But
again, it's that trusting that, you know, and that's what's so hard.
And I do.
Yeah.
I do. I don't have any problem trusting it. I mean, if I do it all the time, even in stuff that's not spiritual related, someone will ask me a question. And I'm like, I've never had any experience with that, but I sure know the answer to it. And and apparently it's either because one of my she does that all the time.
Understood. Yeah.
But either they tell me that it's one of my spirit guides telling me the answer, or they're telling me that I've lived it before, so I've already experienced it. So what I'm saying is not false because I've already experienced it. So it's kind of interesting to.
Well, that gets into claircognizance too. It's that clear knowing. You don't know why you know what you know, but you absolutely know that you know for sure. It's the right, and you don't know where it came from.
Right, and I do that all the time because I definitely don't know as much as I know.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
It does, because it used to happen to me in law a lot. I mean, I had stuff come in one time, and I'm like, oh God, details about medications and people's relationships, and I've never even heard these people talk. They're not even clients yet, and I'm just getting all this stuff, and I'm like,
yeah, what in the
what the French toast? Where is this coming from? It used to freak me out because I didn't know. I had no frame of reference for where the information was coming from.
Right.
And now I know. It's like, okay, well, you really need to be paying attention to what is being said. But see, it's funny because I don't hear it in my head. It's just information that's there. There's no sound.
And that's kind of what
you hear it.
I heard it that one time when some and I can even specify when it was. Someone asked me if I knew anything about what does the red dragons mean. What do I think of red dragons?
Yeah.
And I research. I don't know. I've never researched the red dragons outside of just reading sci-fi books, whatever else. But my instant answer was, they all come from our creator. The creator, when it split out into all the different religions, sects, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The red dragons of Asia are the same as the red dragons in Norse. It's the same as our angels, and the color of red. They all have the same meaning. It's just that all the different religions broke them out into their own system, but they all do the exact same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
And then I started reading it. I was curious about my answer because I bullshitted my way through it one time on a show, and I started reading up on it afterwards. And I'm like, "Well, son of a bitch, how did I know that?" And,
it's true.
It was right when I read. I was like, "Holy cow, who knew?" So
that's another whole different.
One time I actually heard the voice say, just start talking. Otherwise, it's just in my head and I just start talking.
Yeah, the same. So, my least favorite though, and it only happens with one uncle. I have an uncle that passed away. We're Irish, so there's quite a few alcoholics in the family, but he sometimes will put a full shot of whiskey in my mouth, which I hate. That clairaudience, I think is what they call it. That. Like happens to me the least out of all of them.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm just like, I don't even like, even when I drank, I didn't like whiskey. Why? Can't you just, I know you're in the house. Can we just not with that anymore? Like shadow figure would be better. Can we just not with the,
punch me in the arm, leave a bruise.
Slap me. I don't care. Toss me out the window's fine, but can we stop with the whiskey, please?
Right.
Oh, that's my least favorite one, I think.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to bring up your banners again. So for anyone who didn't see it before, this link right here, actually goes out to Erin's page. And on her page, there are 4 links you can click on. And it's all the information you want to know about Erin, about her soul waves, about her Reiki stuff, her resumes, resume information that's out there. That's on there. You can click and look at all that to see what she's done in her past. See, I told you I looked at your site.
You're
all
not kidding.
Information that
that's
you can
good.
Find out all about Erin. I just look like this, but I'm actually a nerd by heart.
Oh my, are you kidding? You know what my husband and I have been playing for the last 48 hours?
Oh God.
The new Star Wars Lego video game, because it just dropped the other day. That's about all my skill level can do. So that's what we've been doing. Yeah, we're nerds.
And I'm not sharing this with anybody else, but you'll know what I'm talking about there, Erin. I really want to get to know Erin's husband. Just throw that out there.
Because of the golf connection too. Yeah.
I'm not saying that to anybody else. I don't want them to know. But not letting them know my secrets.
I only have he leaves me again in a couple days. He'll be back. I don't know where he's going this time. He'll be back on the road. Yeah, he has a fun job. He works. I'm like a pretty fun job.
I'm like, what tournament's coming up? So I'm like, I have them all in my head. I know what's coming up. So, but yes. Anyways, right here on this page. Oops, this page right down there that you see scrolling across.
That's me.
Right here. Go out there, check that out. And if you want to contact her, right there.
Yeah.
soulwavesekb@gmail.com. If you want to ask questions, you want to make comments. Comments are only if they're nice, or else I'm gonna have to come after you. So look at me, big scary furry guy. Remember what I used to do for a living, folks?
I can be mean too. I can get Irish real fast.
Real fast.
Oh yeah.
But
Yep.
questions, anything else, go down to that site, send her the questions, anything else. And here's how this works too. If you send her a question, it's the same thing as I told you about me. If you ask her a question, she doesn't have the answer. She has the people she can go ask to get that question answered.
Yep.
So don't be
all about
be
that
shy to
para
do that.
unity.
Yep. So so go out there, do all that wonderful stuff. I think I got a couple comments. Let's see if we have more questions really quick. Nope. But Nighthawk is telling you if you need anything, let him know.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
He's a wealth of knowledge.
Oh yeah.
It's just
I think
unbelievable.
we're friends. I think he and I are friends on Facebook.
I think you are too. Yeah,
we are.
And of course, my
I
wife
love that.
golf. So she golfs actually too. So she hits the ball further than I do. And I hit the ball.
You won't like the other golf connection we have at our family if you don't like Justin's job. We have Masters tickets too.
I know. I explained that.
We don't use them anymore, but they're not mine. They're my dad's.
And she was explaining because you told me what happens with those tickets. But she said one time he just needs to give them to us for like a birthday present just once.
Right.
So, that would work out great. Yeah. You got to figure if he puts them on my birthday, I only get a birthday once every 4 years.
That's true.
Nikki's is April Fool's Day. So, I mean, we have two very unique birthdays. So
that you do.
That would be fantastic presents for us.
It would.
Put that out there.
Me too. I don't use them anymore either.
So that's another side note. But I think I'm going to call it for the night.
Yeah, this was great. I appreciate your time. It was a lot of fun.
So fantastic. I love having you on. And again, you're going to be one of those I'm going to ask to come on again, especially after you go on your investigations. And
I'm going to the farmhouse in June too. So
right. So I kind of have everyone when I have people come back on. I try to push it out for about 6 months, or 8, whatever is comfortable for them. But that way it gives them plenty of time to build up more conversation pieces and all that wonderful stuff.
This was awesome.
Then William's telling us I played golf once.
40 on.
Got it for the front 9. Then thunder and lightning hit. So
they were telling hit 40 on.
They were telling him to stop. You're done.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you watch Caddyshack, then You're
yes.
But yes. Kat's even talking about it too. She even played mini golf. Hey.
That's about the only golf I play too.
That is the way to learn your putting right there. Let me tell you. And drive. They tell you drive for show, putt for dough. So
yes,
a lot of the money is won on the short game because you can teach a monkey to drive a golf ball a long way. But yes,
true. So. There's also a very big difference between a golf professional and a professional golfer.
Correct.
Lots of zeros. Lots and lots of zeros.
Lots of zeros. Yes, she's giving the Caddyshack quote. But yes. I will tell you, a golf pro only has to shoot into the 80s in order to teach somebody else, whereas a professional golfer better average somewhere in the high 60s. So,
well, if you're going to be a golf professional, you got to be able to pass that PAT, which is no easy feat either.
Right. We have a friend of ours who tried becoming a golf professional a handful of times and has not succeeded. So he decided to go into politics because that was much easier.
Ugh.
So...
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh, bless his heart. So, well,
okay. So one more time,
yes,
just because I can, because it's my page, right there. Oops, right there. Follow that one. That gets you to everything. This gets you to where you can ask all the questions of her. She can reach out to all of her contacts if she doesn't have the answer herself. I will tell you right now that if she reaches out to me as a contact, I will also be reaching out to somebody else because I probably don't have the answer. So it may be a while before we get an answer back to you if she goes that way, but we'll get you an answer in some way, shape, or form.
Yes. And I do Zoom sessions just so people are aware we do everything video these days with COVID. So
yes,
that helps too.
Yes. So I'm going to send you backstage. Please stay around so I can talk to you afterwards.
Will do.
And I'm going to shut the show down, but I will just see you in a few minutes. So
thanks again.
I want to say goodnight to Erin. Good night, Erin.
Bye. Thank you.
All right. So I will be right back with you.
Okay.
All right, everyone. That's our show. Thank you for tuning in. It seems like I'm going to have to work on some stuff as far as the BB3 site goes. Seems like the lives didn't work again. So I'm going to have to figure that out. I apologize now because it shows me up here. I'm even checked and I'm showing that I'm showing on BB3 TV. I will try to get that worked out sooner than later. In the meantime, I am going to go ahead and throw this back up there when it works. Facebook.com/BB3TV. If you're looking for other stuff besides paranormal, go out to here as well, because this is an all variety show site. So we have all kinds of different things up there as well. Go out there, check that out. We actually have new people coming on. Ajang is just started out. Fantastic piano player from Indonesia. So it is going to be fantastic when she's on there. She's actually posted her first one, I believe. William Nighthawk is starting to do stuff on there as well. He does a morning one, as well as he's going to start doing an evening one on one night a week. Good night, Cam. Good night, Kat. Love you very much. I'll be in touch with you soon, since Kat, by the way, is my next week's guest. So start looking for advertisements for her to come out this week, and she will be on Monday, and we will all get to talk to her, and her husband, I believe, is going to be on as well. So thank you, Kat. Much love, and I will talk to you soon. Other than that, let me get back to here. You can also go out to mine, which is where I guess a lot of people went to tonight. Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook on Facebook. In order to contact me, that's the only two places I'm actually running my lives, is BB3 TV and Stuff I'd Never Learned from a Schoolbook. The only reason why is because Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook is mine. And the BB3 TV is my parent group. They're the ones who gave me my show in the first place, and I'm so appreciative of them. So I always identify them first on anything I do. Even though I have my own page, they will always come first. So, and then also I want to give a shout out to Paranormal Brew, because they let me advertise on their page. Go out there, check out Taryn Kerper, check out all the stuff she has going on. She is a wonderful, amazing, fantastic person. Her site is awesome. Her show is awesome. Make sure you're out there checking her out as well. And if you want to see what I do on the paranormal investigation side, then all you need to do is, oops, let me get rid of that. Go up to any of these right here. We have Dimensional Encounters Paranormal, Facebook.com Paranormal Encounter or Dimensional Encounters, or Instagram.com Dimensional_Encounters. Or if you really want to, go out to YouTube, grab all that line, and go out there and check that out. Also, I have not posted it on here yet because I just opened it up last night, but I just started a TikTok page, and it is at Kalel Jorel 72, KALELJOREL 72, and that is my new Facebook page, and I will actually be posting that on here starting next week, so everyone knows where to find me out there. Other than that, much love. Thank you for being on here. Hopefully we will see you all next week. Remember to like and share, and jump on here whenever you can, and we will do as much of this as we can to help you answer all your questions. Much love, folks. Have a great night, and we will talk to you.